I've got a very special guest. He is not just, a business partner of mine. He's also my dad. I know you guys might be wondering why is he white and why am I, but he is my dad. You're gonna find out in a minute. Yes, what's happening, people? Welcome to another episode of the Rags to Riches podcast. Today, I've got a very special guest. He is not just, a business partner of mine. He's also my dad. I know you guys might be wondering why is he white and why am I, but he is my dad. You're gonna find out in a minute. Very good friend of mine. We've been very close. And he's been a very gentleman. He's allowed me to have his daughter's hand in marriage, and now we're doing business together. So without further ado, can you please help me welcome Mr. Matthew Butcher? Matthew, welcome.
Thank you. I'm honoured to be here, Evans.
Amazing. So why are we here today, Matthew? Why are we sitting here having a conversation?
Okay, so we're currently in business together. We're doing this fantastic property refurb in Keighley, Yorkshire. Which is fantastic. It's going really well. It's been quite a journey. It's taken quite a time, but we're almost now at the point, I think, of completing the refurb. So we've been working together on it, and it's going fantastically well. Amazing.
Now we're going to get to that in a minute, but just to get started, why don't you just share with people, what's your background, a little bit about yourself, if you don't mind.
Okay, so my background is in publishing, project management, communications, a little bit of design as well. So I've been doing that for close on 40 years now. Seen a few changes in terms of the technology that's used, but effectively that's the game I'm in.
Amazing, fantastic. So you've been doing printing, and now you have stepped out and you've now been an entrepreneur, haven't you?
Well, I've done a little bit of this sort of stuff in the past. I've dabbled in entrepreneurship, shall we say. So, selling T-shirts and other things like that. I've also dabbled in selling comics. I used to collect comics, things like that. But I've never really taken it too seriously.
Amazing. Any particular reason why you've never actually taken it seriously?
Well, I think it's partly, the groove I was in was very much a sort of family groove, and it was helpful to have a kind of full-time job, and sort of taking that big step into full-time entrepreneurship was something that was maybe just a little bit risky. And I've been very lucky to work with some very interesting organisations and some very interesting people. So there maybe wasn't quite the kind of incentive to go it alone that there might have been.
Amazing. Now, there's one thing that you said that's very true. One thing I've realized from the day I've met you, very wise but very calculated, and you make very smart decisions, take very little risk. If you do take risk, it's probably calculated. But now we're actually taking some bigger risk. So why don't you talk about some of the things that we're doing, some of the bigger risks that you do, because now I know you obviously now into business, for yourself. You work for yourself, which is a lot different to what you did back in the day.
Yeah, well, a lot of people my age are probably thinking about retirement planning, and it's not as straightforward as it used to be in the old days. You just probably built up an adequate pension. I probably wasn't quite smart enough to do that, so my pension provision looking a little bit ragged. Like a lot of people, I was looking to invest. Again, it's difficult these days. You can't just stick money in the bank or the building society and watch it grow. It's kind of going into reverse. So then you think, okay, well, there's really two options, and one of them is the stock market and trying to get involved in that, and the other one that lots of people talk about, and obviously I know you guys have been involved in, is property. And so for me, property was a big draw for two reasons. A, we had skin in the game, literally, you're my family, and you were it was a world that you were exploring and really getting some insights into, and getting some expertise in. And I think the other thing for me, although as an economist or with an economics background, I could have got into stocks and shares, I quite like the creative aspect of property investment. So it kind of merges the sort of creativity with the project management that's kind of in my sort of background, sort of DNA anyway.
Amazing. So you mentioned earlier about you working with us without joint venturing on a massive project just up the road to where we are right now. I mean, you could have, worked with tens of people, all over the country. What made you, choose us to work with? What made you want to, work and joint venture with us?
Well, I think, obviously we're friends and family, but at the same time, I know that you guys do all the due diligence, and you've got, a fantastic set of contacts. So if we need anything done to the house, or we need any further investment or whatever, you kind of know lots of people in the property game, and you've also got a sort of real drive to get things done, and a very sort of commercial approach, because at the end of the day, much as we all love each other, this is an investment for me and my wife Sarah. At the end of the day, it's very much about just trying to secure our retirement, as well as see you guys on the road as well. So your commercial acumen was something that was definitely a factor that went in your favour.
Amazing, fantastic. And in regards to, I think it's been, how long has it been now? It's been a few months since we got the project, up and going. It's now almost done. What's it been like working with us? What's it been like over the last few months working with us?
Well, I think we're all on a learning journey together, aren't we? And I think the amazing thing has been, you've obviously picked this ball up and run with it, and you've made enormous strides, I think, in terms of sort of actually nailing down sort of getting the property finished off. It was a big property. It is a big property. There's been a lot to do. It wasn't completely falling to pieces, but there were quite a few bits that needed doing over 3 or 4 floors. And you've really sort of like stuck to it. And now, as I say, the winning post is inside. Amazing.
Sounds really, really good. So, I mean, you mentioned it's over 3 or 4 floors, quite a big property. I mean, what do you like the most about this particular property? What do you like the most about this particular deal that makes you this is the one I want to go ahead with it?
Well, I think it's a good big property. I mean, we started looking at much smaller properties, didn't we? And it was just like, I mean, as it turned out, what the small property we were looking at, we thought, oh yeah, that'd be good. Dip our toe in the water, use it as a learning opportunity, then move on to something bigger. Kind of made sense, but then it didn't work out. And so then we almost went to the other extreme, which has got this 8-bed property. But it's right in the centre, and I'm sure demand for it is going to be good. And it's also an opportunity to just put all our eggs in one basket and just really concentrate on this one property. And we're turning it into 10 bedrooms, I think. I lose count because it changes slightly.
There's so many, yeah.
But yeah, which is amazing, and hopefully will provide decent quality sort of rented accommodation for up to 10 people.
Yeah, amazing, correct. Because I know you mentioned earlier, about you wanted to get started, do the retirements, and we were gonna get a small one, but thank God it didn't really work out, because a bigger one came in, because that's my philosophy. As when one door closes, God always sends a bigger, better one to open, and we found a bigger property. There's more financial commitment up front. However, as you said, we put all our eggs in that basket, make it work, and your retirement is pretty much in that one property, isn't it?
Yeah, and it makes commercial sense, and I think I just want to sort of, I suppose, reiterate that it is first and foremost an investment, so we're taking it very seriously, but at the same time, it's nice to be able to provide, because there's a lot of rented accommodation out there that isn't that great, and where the landlords don't really care that much. So, hopefully the quality of the accommodation that we can offer will be a little bit above the average.
Absolutely.
And that will be, nice too, in terms of sort of, being good neighbours and being part of the community.
Absolutely, 100%. And if we provide very good living accommodation, we'll get better quality tenants. We'll get tenants stay a lot longer. So it makes sense to not go overboard and putting laminate and putting marble everywhere, but provide something that's durable and sustainable. So absolutely 100%. So we're nearing the end. Just a few weeks from completion. The painters are already there, so it's the tables are finally turning. So we're coming to the end very, very soon. So I mean, have you thought of like what's your plan after that? What are you going to do? Are you going to just go on holiday and move to Marbella and say, you know what, I'm making thousands of pounds on this one property, or have you got a plan to obviously keep building and because our strategy is buy, refurbish, refinance. We're going to recycle pretty much all of the cash that you initially invested. So what's the plan after this project?
Well, I mean that is the good thing about buy, refurbish, refinance is that in certain circumstances, you can actually recycle all of your investment out. I mean, typically you might get a sort of 75% mortgage, but if you've added value to the property, then you can see how that actually might.
Look at the property expert, isn't it?
Close.
Can you imagine that?
I know, he's taught me. But so we're there's a basement flat to look at. That's going to be the next port of call. My wife and I, we have a long-term ambition of potentially living in Spain or something like that. But that's a little bit further down the line. So we definitely want to see where this takes us. And as I say, the next step will be the basement flat and what we can do with that. It's a very nice basement flat. We can give it some light and make it airy, which is often the issue with basement flats. And we're fortunate in that we've got planning permission to do that, haven't we? So that will be the next port of call. And but I'm sure with your connections and your contacts and your vision that then you'll have something else lined up for beyond that.
Yeah, absolutely. Because we've split the title, haven't we? So we split the title from the HMO, so it's not one property. We're going to refinance that, and then we're going to use the funds to then do the basement, which is a separate equity. So it is one property, but it's two different projects, isn't it?
Yeah.
One's obviously set up to be a very good HMO, and the other one's potentially going to be a service accommodation. And if that doesn't work, it should work. There's loads of demand in the area, but worst case scenario, the option exit strategy is just rent it out to a family. So it's one project, but it's two projects.
Yeah, amazing. So we use the financing from the first property to make some investment on the second.
Amazing, fantastic. So it's been very a very good convo. I know you're a man of your time is very valuable. So it's been an absolute pleasure having you with us today. I mean, is there anything that you want to add in closing? Is there anything that you want to say, or anything that you want to comment on in closing?
Well, I'm just going to say, I mean, these people are wonderful people, but they're also very sharp business people. So they're good people to do business with. I mean, I say that hand on heart. Obviously, having a vested interest, but I do believe that's the case. And I also think that you can never be too careful when you're investing in any sphere. But I do think that certain types of property remain a good investment despite these uncertain times. So if you can find the right business partners, then it's a good game to be in. From the point of view of investment and particularly retirement planning.
Absolutely. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure. It's a pleasure working with you. You're always on the ball. Always got your spreadsheets. So it's made my life a lot easier, and I'm glad that my partner Ellen and I, soon to be my wife, we can help you with your retirement and getting your fancy villa in Marbella. So
Mallorca, not Marbella.
You never know, he might want Marbella, Mallorca, but you get the
drift. As long as it begins with M and it's sunny.
So that's it. So thank you again, Matthew, for coming on today. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
And it's great having you on. Hope you guys smash the like button if you did like this. But if you did like this video, make sure you subscribe and turn on the notification bell. Peace out, guys. Take care.